you know, pizza made with, you know, flour that is milled regionally, and this is why I charge $18 for a pizza. This is why this pizza is $26. And people come back. A lot of their regular customers are there once or twice a week, which is really important. And so, you know, that said, I work with restaurant groups that spend millions of dollars, and some of them do very well, and others close their doors in six months or a year. So I'm going to say $100,000 is what you need to open a pizzeria.
Well, that's great. So, since we're talking about investment, what is the typical profits? You know, once you close your book, all your spends are paid. You know, typically, what are the profits at the end of the year? Let's give an average of what the standards are out there for the good pizzeria.
Did he say profit? Profits range, and again, this goes back to what does it take? I agree. You know, Ali was able to do it with 700,000. It just depends on where you're at and how much work you're going to put into it. Consistently in my restaurants, after understanding what I was doing wrong and fixing those, 15 to 18% to the bottom line was an average. It's because I knew my food cost. It's because I managed my inventory. It's because I managed my labor. It's because I knew when my customers were coming in and when they weren't coming in. So when they weren't coming in, I'd close. And that means, during the week, maybe the hours were from 11 o'clock to 8 o'clock at night, or 9 o'clock at night, right? I've lived in some small towns in Sonoma County. So it just depends on where you're at and how much volume you're doing. But you should at least be paying yourself a wage that is commensurate with what you're doing, a manager, or like Ali said, a couple bucks an hour is if that's all you can do in the beginning. 10%, I know guys in the industry that do consistently 18 to 20% bottom line profit. The last consult I did, actually it was about a year and a half ago, was for a guy and a gal who had a pizzeria that was making $2.7 million a year. And they weren't seeing very much money to the bottom line. And I went in there and showed them where they were leaving about 10-12% on the table without increasing sales. So you have to manage your money, you have to know your food cost, you have to know your labor cost, your prime costs. Try to hit that 15 to 18% mark, because it is absolutely doable if everything else runs along the line that it should.
I would say anything between 22 to 25. It really depends on month to month. But it could go up to about 27 for some months as well, because I do catering on the side as well. That helps. But the idea behind that is not how much the business is making money, but how are you using the money it's making, if that makes sense. And how you have to be money wise. Like the employment idea too, and of course the timings. For example, in my first scenario, my first location was closed in the afternoon between 2 to 5, just like a sushi place. So people wouldn't get it, the customers. They were like, hey, how come with your pizza place? So, because customers, they want you to be open 24/7, if they would love to, But if we have, as a business person, you have to think about whether the times you're busy, when you're not. And you have to stay to it and kind of train your people to come along the times you're open. So then started happening, because as soon as we open at 5 in the evening, there are already 6 people waiting in line to enter, which is great. That means as soon as the 5 clicks, the meter is on, you start making money. And then for my second location now, I get a lot of pressure. You should open 7 days a week. No, who said that? So I'm actually just open Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I choose the times, and I'm training the people coming in to come during that time. Like for example, yesterday evening, we were slamming. There was an hour and a half wait, and people didn't mind waiting. Just for a 60 to 90 seconds baking time pizza, they were waiting for an hour and a half. That's the demand. Now, the issues I'm facing, because there was about 45 minutes to an hour in the morning yesterday, 0 sale. So I'm training those people who come in the evening, hey, you guys have to come in the morning. because there is a demand, but the timing is wrong. So I'm still learning the process, and I'm open to change. You have, but everybody comes in, same problem. If whenever I come in, you guys are closed. You have to check the timings before you come in, you know, and then, so it's a training process and it's a part of the growing pain, but at the end, you make the magic happen. And that's the idea, was to save instead of looking at what your business is making, and that's where the profits are.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know, I've been in the business for a long time, and you know what constantly happens to me is that I think I know what the rules are, and then I go to a new project and I find somebody breaking the rules and doing better than everybody else, and it's mind-blowing to me, you know? So, you know, I work at big companies and they've got all their costs down, and they have, they buy, you know, everything by the pallet, so their food costs are low, and they've got, you know, 17 people who are looking at labor models, so their labor is in line. And then I'll go to like a one-man pizzeria. I'll give an example. Jonathan from Spock and Napoli, I think, helped you guys out in the course on the East Coast, right? He has a pizzeria, Spock and Napoli, in Chicago. Jonathan was a social worker, and he got into the pizza business by running soup kitchens in Chicago. That was his entree into the business. And by most standards, he does everything wrong. His food costs are well above 25 to 30%. I'll tell you that the highest paid person in his kitchen is his dishwasher. I believe he's paying $45,000 a year. His dishwasher has been with him since the day that he opened and has the keys to his restaurant because he opens every morning. Which is crazy. Who pays a dishwasher more than they pay their chef, right? But the way Jonathan runs his business is that he says, when I said to him, Jonathan, how could you charge, your food cost on your burrata dish is 40%, how can you do that? And he looked around and he said, look at my restaurant. Every table is full at 5 o'clock and I have 100 people waiting outside to get in. Good point, right? I say, Jonathan, how could you pay your dishwasher $45,000 a year? He said, you know what? He's been with me for 12 years since the day I opened. He's the most important person in my organization. Why wouldn't you pay the most important person in your organization the most money? End of story.
I'm glad you brought up Jonathan, because he is completely, if you're looking at a model to copy, don't copy Jonathan's. But here's the one great point, okay? Jonathan opened his pizzeria at the end of his first career and had been successful at what he was doing for years and years and years. He was comfortable enough to be able to do that so that he could set the rules the way he wanted to. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean you have to be rich or at the end of your first career or anything else. What he did was he had a plan. And he said, by damn, I'm going to do it the way I want to do it. And if you know Jonathan or have cooked with him, like I think we all have, not only is he one of the most gracious people you'd ever want to meet, but he freaking kills it. He kills it. Look at Pizza Today Independence and see what kind of volume he does. It's crazy good because he did it the way he wanted to do it, and without the pressure of having to go out and make money right away. That, I think, is a huge key to being able to be relaxed, make good decisions. It's like anything else. If you get emotional about it, you're probably going to lose. Keep your head. Make sure the numbers are right. And by all means, take care of your people. I am the same way Jonathan is. When I go into a restaurant, when I open a restaurant, I lead by example. I know how to freaking wash a dish, and I do it all the time. I know how to clean a toilet. If you don't, I'll show you. Because my father is a Marine, even though he's been gone for 12 years, and I know how to clean a toilet too. But that is the key to the success. Jonathan leads by example, just like I think all of us do too.
I think this question is a little bit more personal. It goes really to your culture, to tradition, and your style. How do you make the perfect pizza? And which style is the right for your concept and demographic area?
You don't. There's no such thing as a perfect pizza. There never will be. That's why we continue to thrive every day. Every pizza I make is perfect in my mind. Even the ones that don't taste that great, because I'll learn something from it. It all, again, the fundamental basics of that question are very easy to answer. It all comes down to your crust, your sauce, your cheese? Are you putting the passion in to make that the best that they can possibly be for your style? And that's the beauty behind this industry. We've got grandmas, we've got Detroits, we've got Pinzas, we've got all of these different kinds of styles of pizzas. And they're all perfect. If you make them passion from your heart, and if you take the time to differentiate yourself, so that when people walk into your pizzeria or stand in line for an hour and a half, they know they're going to get their perfect pizza. That's how you make it. That's how I made it. I don't know if that's the answer you want, though, Francesco.
It's your version.
I would say, like you mentioned, every pizza is perfect. It really depends who's going to eat it, who's going to see it, right? But the idea is you have to bring something more to it than what it is actually. Again, I'll use my example. That's the easiest one. The easiest person I know is myself. So I'm of mixed ethnicity, mixed background. So my flavors were different when I was growing up. So what I like to do, and I think the flavors rocked when I was growing up as a kid. So, but when I came to US, I'm like, hey, why aren't these people trying these flavors? Because they are fantastic. So I said, hey, well, why don't I use those flavors on the pizza and welcome them and introduce them to it? What the things I love, let me serve it to them and let's see if they enjoy it. So because I knew those flavors so much, so that was my niche. So that's what I was super confident on, and that set me apart from anybody else. The least selling pizza I have in my restaurant is a pepperoni pizza. So which shocks people. Why? Because it's not that it's bad, because I have many other things which people have never expected ever before. When they look at it, they want to try something else, because pepperoni is something you can find anywhere. So that's what they're thinking. So what I'm trying to share is, you have to find something, again, which is coming from inside out, and then it should reflect on the pizza. And every pizza should have a idea behind it, that why would I do a Detroit style? Oh, my dad used to work at so-and-so place, so the little trays kind of remind me of him working. And that's where the inspiration is from, or something or the other, which is genuine. You cannot just fake it. It has to be genuine from inside. So everybody has some story going on. We have to find out what's the magic makes you special, and then show it off on your pizza, and then people see that and you appreciate it, and that becomes your perfect pizza. Yeah.
And I mean, since I will say your pizzeria, first time yesterday with our team, and we were astonished by the flavors. Can you share some of the flavors? Because I know your background is different. You got a mix. We're so used to American flavors. You were talking about pepperoni, cheese pizza. Some of the staples pizza that everybody eats. What are the flavors that you're using today at your pizzeria?
Yeah, so my pizzas complement different part of the world, because I really believe that the flavors are beautiful everywhere, and we all agree with that. So the idea is, why just stick to one style? Why not pick up the best of the best from different countries and then present it like a painting on a pizza? So this concept in my mind came in because when I started, I said, hey, you know what, I want to get into food business, but what kind of food business, I couldn't make up my mind. The only thing I knew, by the way, I only serve halal. So some of you which don't know, halal is no alcohol and no pork products. It's kind of kosher, but a little lenient. So I only eat halal, so I only wanted to serve halal. Imagine finding halal pepperoni, it's close to impossible, right? But these days you can. So my vision was, hey, I want to serve something which is halal, but I want some of the Thai. I love Thai food, I love French food, I love Korean, Indian, Mediterranean. So why not use pizza as a canvas and apply all these creative ideas I have on it and present pizzas? So that's for example, I have a pizza which has, it takes me 3 days just to make a sauce. It's called the Bombay Tikka Masala. It takes you to India and back, as I like to say. It has saffron, turmeric, mint yogurt. I let it marinate in a clay pot for the first 2 days. Third day, I bake it in my oven to get the smoky flavor out of it. That's my vision. And it's very sophisticated flavors, not spicy. And then I've recently just won the best pizza by a Korean-inspired pizza. So when I was visiting a city, Gangnam, I call it bulgogi, Gangnam style. So not many people are used to those Korean barbecue flavors. I use that on my pizza. I use corn on it, and so the idea is complementing the country. They use something called yam, and the Korean food is the last taste is a little sweeter. For us Americans, what? A sweet pizza, I don't like it. It's not the matter what I like, what you like, it's what they enjoy. So let's compliment them. When people look at it in that perspective, they're like, wow, I have a pizza named Istanbul. It has chicken Turkish doner kebab, which I marinate for 72 hours. Then we finish it with fresh cucumbers, yes, cucumbers, and the yogurt-based sauce, which is called Hadri sauce. Now, tzatziki for us is Greek, it's 6 different herbs and spices, whereas Hadri is the big rival, Turkish. It gets 21 different herbs and spices. So we make that sauce in-house. Now, that particular recipe I got inspired by a gentleman on Taksim Square. So these are real stories because my previous life I used to travel around the world. I was fortunate. So I picked it up from him because he would make a unique doner. Doner kebab is always made with beef or lamb, but he would make it with chicken, which would make it super light and super flavorful. So that's the recipe I learned from him. I got inspired and designed that pizza. The compliments I look for is not that, oh, Ali, your pizza is great. No, I'm not satisfied with that. The compliments I look for, chef, your pizza reminds me of my grandmother's cooking. Now, I'm not Turkish, because a Turkish family is telling me that, that's what's up. So that's the vision I go for. I have a pizza from Korea, India, Egypt. Now, Egyptian, I have 3 different pizzas going on, just from Egypt. One is from Cairo, because that's a lot of street food kind of feel. The recent one I have is from Alexandria. So from Alexandria, flavors are extremely sophisticated. So they tend to use a lot of lamb. So I use lamb on that pizza with 17 different spices on it. So the idea should be like, these how the locals eat. So if you can enjoy this pizza, you can move to Egypt and you'll be happy.
Thank you, Ali. Thank you. That's it's important because, as I said before, a lot of people they just use, and that's why I want you to be here. But you consult to a lot of pizzeria, and you must have big variety of pizza.
So one of my favorite jobs that I do is I work as a dough doctor. So I'll come into existing restaurants and see if I can help. So the first thing that I usually do as a dough doctor is I take all the toppings off the pizza, and I'll dress a dough ball, stretch it, and dress it with just olive oil and some good salt like Malden, and I'll bake a pizza. And whether it's a New York pizza or a Neapolitan pizza or a Roman pizza, it almost doesn't matter. What I'm looking for is how does the dough perform in the oven with no toppings? Is it delicious? What's the texture like? How does it brown? How many different textures are there, right? Is it something you'd want to eat by itself? A lot of people think it's a little crazy. Why would you serve pizza without a topping? But I remember going to Rome for the first time and going to this super famous bakery called Forno Campo dei Fiori. And one of their pizzas is rosemary and sea salt with olive oil. Now to me, as an American growing up with Domino's pizza and Shakey's pizza, and even a white pizza is controversial to me without red sauce. When I had this pizza for the first time, I was blown away. And every morning I came back and I would order just a pizza with some rosemary and some sea salt on it, and I'd have it with my coffee. And I would watch these guys stretch the dough out. So for me, I'm a dough guy, and I really think long and hard and have a lot of sleepless nights thinking about dough. And so, no, really, even this morning I was up early thinking about dough. And so I like to get rid of all the toppings, and my philosophy is that if your pizza works well with some olive oil and some salt, think about how beautiful it will be if you have one of these gentlemen up in your pizza.
So I love this question coming up now. I think it's very intriguing, especially since there's a lot of people who go franchise and some independent. So the question is, franchises versus independent pizzeria. What suggestion would you give a person who wants to get into our industry, and which one would you choose? Now I know Glenn, you progressed from independent to franchise. So why don't you elaborate for us, what are your suggestions for people that are out there?
My past, was fueled by independent. As an independent operator, I was able to do the things that I wanted to do, that I felt was necessary to be successful in the industry. Some of the first jobs I had was a line cook. So I was able to learn a lot of things from a lot of different people. And one of the aspirations are to expand and take your product all over the place if you can. I've done that, and while it's fun and it's a lot of work, there are the pitfalls of multiple locations all throughout the country. It becomes more corporate. It becomes more structured, depending on how many locations you have. And decisions are harder to make on the fly. I cook, I miss 300 cover nights on the line. I can't do it anymore. It's not that I don't want to. I don't want to most of the time. But I miss those days because that's when I could perform. That's when I know I could make a plate, send it out to pass, and watch it go to a table, watch somebody, take a bite and just go, love it or hate, either way. I've been involved with 3 major companies. 2 of them I've consulted for. In fact, I just finished a 6-month consult for a company on Friday. And I can say now that I won't go back to that. I won't go back to working with large brands. There's no passion there, and I need to be driven by passion. I need to be able to do what I know how to do to benefit the companies that I work for. And that's the key. If you're not in control, you can't make the decisions. If you can't make the decisions, you can't implement things that could be very, very beneficial financially, operationally, and things like that. Franchising is fantastic. I just talked to someone, and I won't mention his name, but everybody here knows his name. He's probably one of the most well-known pizza makers in the nation, let alone the world. So I probably gave up a little about that. But he called me and said, "Hey Glenn, we're thinking about going to franchise." And I said, "What?" I said, "You told me 10 years ago you'd never go to franchise, right?" It's a money thing. If you've got a great concept and you want to take it to franchise, by all means, take it to franchise. Don't forget how you got to franchising. Don't let those steps go away. It's the passion, it's the personal steps. The money is going to come. Franchising is great. You can take what you've created and duplicate it and expand. I was just talking to Allie before we started, and I said, "So Allie, you've got your second store open. How's that treating you? Because this space can't be in every location, right? That's one of the challenges with franchising. If you're the star of the show, you're not going to be there all the time. So you have to make sure that everything's happening the same way." Again, planning. I think both sides are very, very, very good. I've launched another brand, we're looking to take that brand, probably regional, and who knows, maybe to franchise nationally. But it's going to be done the way single units open. You have to train, you have to be passionate, you have to follow the rules, you have to know your numbers, and from 1 to 100, it's the same thing. Just remember that you'll have a little bit more, a few more people to work with when you have 100 locations. And it may not always be fun sitting in a boardroom for 2 days straight talking about numbers when all you really want to do is cook. But the benefits are there. If you've got a great brand, I say go for it. Franchise it, but do it the way you want to do it, because that, again, is going to set you apart. None of us are going to win the game against Domino's, Pizza Hut, Little Caesars. We're not going to win the game. They have scalability. We don't. They have a demographic we probably don't want. Right?
Ali, you took a different approach. Obviously, you've been very devoted to be an independent. I know you expressed yourself that you were very passionate, you wanted to prove yourself, but are you ever going to take your business franchise?
I never say no. I learned this early on because I'm maturing too. I'm changing too as a person. So the idea behind if I have to break it down, first of all, the idea is why did I even become an independent? Was believe it or not, was not for money, and that's what I advise. It was for my creativeness inside. I wanted to showcase. So that was my spirit. So, and I've been doing that for a couple of years now. I'm super satisfied. Then I guess when the maturity comes in, you're like, all right, this is fantastic. I'm getting my creative juices. I'm excited about it. But how about making money on the side? Because he's right. So making money part, franchising is the way to go. So if anybody entering and they're kind of deciding, should I go independent or should I go? So the easy question to that is, how will you survive in a jungle? If you're one of those, just throw me in. And I'm not afraid of fall or failure. If you're one of those, nature-wise, that's your character, perfect. Then independent is the perfect way. And if you have those creative juices, you have to have a release. Independent is the way to go. Don't even try thinking about franchising. Why? Because if you get a hungry Howie, you're in there, you keep on fighting with it because they will not let you change anything. Or maybe, I don't know how it is, the system works, but they might not be happy if you switch something. But this is the freedom you get if you're going independent. But if you're one of those, I need a safety cushion, I need some guidance, I need the structure basis, then franchising is the way to go. And none of this is good over each other. Both of them are beautiful. Because at the end of the day, we're all working hard to take care of our family, right? So whatever way works best for you, that's the direction you want to go and move on. So answer your question, in the future, yes, if the opportunity comes in, I do get a lot of different offers, but it's a blessing, but it doesn't connect. I'm not satisfied, I'm not happy, because I'm in the phase of just testing myself again and again now. So with the second one, I want to see how I handle this. If this itself makes me happy financially and with the family success, I'm happy. If not, then I can expand and then take it from there. But I would not let the respect, the moral I've created with my business go down. As soon as I feel, that might take away, I'm not happy. I'll stay where I am because I feel the journey is what's important, not the destination. And I'm enjoying, my life is better today than yesterday, so that's what's up.
You as well worked, with so many, clients domestically and internationally. As a matter of fact, you were telling me you might go to Kuwait to do a consulting, soon. What do you say about,
I'm anti-franchise. Only because I've had bad experiences with them. There's a brand that I know that I've been watching for a number of years, and here's something that I know because I'm a pizza insider that other people don't know. Their initial location has never been profitable. But you walk into that location and it's beautiful and the pizza's pretty good and the CEO sells his wares like no one else. And so a lot of people, they look around, they see a beautiful location, they smell nice pizza, they think they must be making money, right? Look at all the people over there. And so they invest. And so for me, you have to be buyer beware, because what looks like a profitable pizzeria might actually not be. And the numbers they present look good, and the pizza tastes pretty good, and there's a line out the door most times, but in this particular case, their startup costs were so high, and they're not able to manage their costs well enough in addition to servicing their debt. And so they'll never be profitable. But nobody knows but a few insiders. I'm not saying that there aren't profitable and honest franchises out there. I'm working with a new franchise that happens to be some of my favorite pizza in the world right now, and they only have 2 locations, and they have some pretty heavy hitters working with them. So I'm hopeful that they can do a high quality, honest, profitable franchise, but my experience has been mostly negative, so I'm biased.
Just real quick too, that's a really good point, because I've also worked for a few really large companies that aren't profitable. For people like us that start in a business, because I know that Mara and Enzo and Emiliano started this way as well, you bootstrap it. That passion that we've all talked about through this whole so far, is what pushes us to continue to make that great product. I started a brand called Persona. We called it Persona Neapolitan Pizza, and then we quickly realized that most people, and this is no offense, please don't take any offense to this, but most people in the middle of the country say Oklahoma. When you say Neapolitan, they think of chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry ice cream, right? And that's just, sorry, this is America, right? Okay, so we changed it to Persona Woodfire. The point of that was that going national with a brand to follow a trend or a fad, you have to be smarter than a trend or a fad. I put real kitchens in Personas so that we could broaden the menu out and not just sell pizza. So again, corporate is corporate. Domino's people, Papa John's, all those people make a ton of money. But I tell you what, they don't go home at night and rave about their product. They don't have people online raving about their product. And I'm not trying to knock those guys. They're great guys. It's a different mindset. If you're going to take your brand to franchise, if Ali's going to take his brand to franchise, which I think franchising can be great, but my parameters around franchising and making sure that it's done right are exactly in line. So make sure you drive your business from 1 to 1,000 stores, it doesn't really matter, passionately. Because the money's going to come. Trust me, the money really will come. Sometimes it doesn't come as fast as you want it to.
Eventually.
Eventually.
So, opening, closing, merging, fast casual, is it saturating the market? Why some fast casual are succeeding and why some are not?
So the definition of fast casual is, the fast casual now is the create your own style. Like I was just talking about Persona. Neapolitan, we didn't, and I will say the names, Mod, Pyology, Blaze, okay? Now everybody knows what we're talking about. From a chef's standard, how many of you cook in a restaurant or own a restaurant right now? Any of you? Okay, so the last thing I'm going to allow anybody to do is come into my kitchen, create their own product, to have us cook it, and then critique me on what they create. Think about it. Okay? I mean, just, you know. In America, the public wants more. We want to supersize everything, we want more. So if I go out and tell somebody I'm going to take it, I'll let you make your own pizza for $8.99 and you can put as many ingredients as you want on it, what do you think the outcome of that's going to be? I know if I talk to the dough doctor, he's going to say, well, your crust isn't going to rise and it's going to have gum lines and you're not going to have any crumb and the cornice is going to be flat. The bottom line is the fast casual sector is dying. I said it. I think I'm being recorded. It's dying. It's dying because you cannot let other people make your product and then critique it. It doesn't work that way. So if you take a fast casual, if you like to expand, make sure that you're controlling your product. I just don't think that the fast casual market right now is expanding the way it needs to. They don't have depth of menu. You can't just sell pizzas, breadsticks, and salads. It doesn't work. You'll die. There's not enough people out there. So I've been in the business. I've worked for some big companies that are in the business. I get calls from companies saying, hey, come help us. But they're beyond help because they're so big that they can't change what they're doing. Yet profits are, customers are going away. So you can have a combination of the two. It takes a lot of hard work and it takes the passion. You can do it. I've done it. It works. But you've got to remember one thing, that it all comes down to your product. That product that goes out that door or sits on someone's plate has got to be great consistently all the time. And the only way that can be done is if you're controlling it from a higher level.
I know you work with a lot of.
Yeah, I'll just add something I think is important that's already been said. I'm very biased. I like what I like. I don't like what I don't like. One of my favorite pizzerias in Los Angeles is called Pizzana, Pizzana. Their first location is in Brentwood. Their second location is in West Hollywood. Daniele Uditi, you can follow him on Instagram. He's a third-generation bread maker from Caserta, just outside of Naples, Italy. He has only ever made pizza in his life by hand, right? To this day, he has 2 pizzerias. The first one probably does 500 or 600 pizzas a day, sometimes more. All the dough is mixed by hand. Same with his second pizzeria. He doesn't like to use a mixer because he doesn't understand how they work. He comes to my bakery and he watches me do something called hypermixing, which is when you take a high hydration dough and you mix it with a mixer. He thinks I'm crazy. I think he's crazy. But the thing that I love about him is that he is 100% invested in the quality of his pizzas and in the happiness of his employees. And so based on that, I think he's launching an incredible brand, and the quality is unbelievable. I just went to his a second location, which just opened in West Hollywood, and the pizza is better than ever. It's unbelievable. So I forget what the question was, but I just wanted to add that comment to it. Thank you.
Well, one other question that I think is extremely important in our industry today is qualified and unqualified labor, especially here. That's probably a nationwide issue, but another big challenge is minimum wage continue to rise. So what are the biggest obstacles? In the pizzeria, labor is a big factor, and we were talking about percentage before. But how do you overcome the cost of labor that continue to increase?
Don't get in a price war. No price wars. You're not scalable. You're not going to beat Domino's. You're not going to beat Pizza Hut. You're not going to beat any of those. Like I said before, we don't want their demographic anyway, do we? Because those demographics, and I'm going to sit here and tell you, I've ordered that stuff before for the kids when they were younger. It's easy, right? But that's not where someone with that kind of quality really wants to go. It really comes down to a point of being able to scale your operation in a profitable mode when you expand. With labor, the rates that are going up, there's nothing we can do about it. We can say that, complain, well, it's going to put us out of business. It's not going to put you out of business if you have a great quality product and you know how to raise your prices, and you're not afraid to raise your prices. You've got high quality, your customers know it, your quality is more expensive, and yet Ali is talking about 25% profit margins, right? He's also talking about dressings and sauces that take 2 weeks or more to formulate. That's passion, that's love. Charge what your demographic will pay. If you've got a pizza that you can get $50 for and people love it and it's worth it because it's such high quality and you've taken so much time to do it right, people will pay for that. So my advice on that is really simple. Lead by example, inspire your employees. I've said this before earlier, show them how to clean, show them how you want things done. Make sure that your procedures, your operations are replicatable, and then make sure that they're doing it. Because you can make a phenomenal pizza just as easy as you can make a crappy pizza. That's the bottom line. It's all in the procedures, it's all in the operations. If you're putting the value into your product, make sure you're looking at your menu at least 3 times a year. Make sure you're raising your prices at least once a year. Because guess what? Everybody else is, right? So why shouldn't pizzerias? Don't get caught in price wars with companies that have economy of scale. You're not going to win. Differentiate yourself, make a great product, and make sure people are paying for it. then you can pay for your labor.
I would say that the labor change, the minimum wage go up does definitely on paper looks like, oh my God, what are we going to do? You know, because if you have the staff, and I personally had that hiccup as well. So the first time ever I raised the prices on my pizza, it was like I was unbelievably scared. So I didn't know what to react to. And with the blessing, as soon as I did that, believe it or not, besides maybe 3 people, nobody even noticed. And I'm like, what? Really? Because I would keep on calling the restaurant, checking, did anybody point it out? Because I already had my answers ready for it, you know, like print it out, show it to them, the minimum wage rate up. Nobody noticed. And then for the next week, I went into depression that why didn't I raise it earlier? So the idea behind that is, if you, as he said, you're serving with the product and what it deserves, and people who know what you're doing, of course, they're not going to come up to you and say, Mister, you should raise your price. In fact, some of them tell me that, but majority won't, because they know it's a great deal for the quality of food you're serving, but you being in there in your shell, you don't realize that. So of course, we have to price compare, look at what's happening out in the market and what others are doing, what availability you have, and then serve the best product possible. And if the minimum wage raises, now I'm confident in a way. Sure, I'm going to raise my prices, because luckily for all of us this day and age, it's online, it's on social media, so it's not hidden. Everybody knows, it's on the news. The more they promote that, oh, it's going to be, like especially my city, Pasadena, they want to showcase that they're the #1 in everything. So they have almost $15 per hour now. So for me, instead of being shying it away, oh my God, how I'm going to deal with it? So I'm raising my prices, hey, because it's obvious. Everybody knows the house prices there are more expensive. You know, everything is expensive. And people don't mind paying, because they still feel you're a deal. Because they're happy to spend $20 at some other pizzeria. Over here, if they're spending $15 for your pizza, they're saving $5. So that's how they look at it. It's surprising for me, but I'm getting used to it now.
So I think I look at the labor model a little differently than some. I trained with a gentleman named Roberto at Castell probably 10 years ago, just after he opened his first pizzeria in New York, after coming from Pittsburgh, right? And if anybody's ever met him, he is incomprehensible in English. He didn't come to the United States knowing more than probably 7 words. And I've asked people who also speak Italian, he's incomprehensible in Italian as well. He mutters, he has a very thick accent. However, he's a very wise man about all things pizza. And one of the most important things that he taught me, besides how to make Neapolitan pizza, is he's told me he would rather take somebody with no experience than somebody with experience and train them, because the hardest thing about training someone with experience is that you have to unlearn them of their bad habits, which is really important to understand, because I work with a lot of restaurateurs and they're always saying, can you get me a pizza guy? Can you get me a pizza guy? And I'm like, no, I don't want to get you a pizza guy. I want to get you someone who has drive, ambition, good work ethic, honesty, maybe a family to support so you know they're going to show up for work. And let me teach that person how to make pizza the way I want them to make pizza. Give me someone with no bad habits that I can teach from scratch. And that guy will be more valuable to you in a year or 6 months than the guy who you have to pay $24 an hour to right now. And I'm not kidding, I just spent 3 weeks in San Francisco, and that's what you're having to pay pizza guys, $24 an hour. Because a 2-bedroom apartment in San Francisco is $50,000 a year, you know? So that's my take on labor in the pizza industry today.
Well, another issue that I always hear from a lot of our customers, a lot of the people that I meet in the industry, it's real estate. Location, location, location. How do you find the perfect location? What do you need to look out when your partner, you actually, with a landlord? I know that, one of the reasons a lot of restaurants fail is because the rent is too high.
Glenn, you've paid way too much money for rent before, which is true. Go ahead and laugh, Bill. It's research. right? I've had a restaurant on my partner's persona. We opened a very high-profile restaurant on State Street in Santa Barbara that had that, I want to say, $5, $6 a square foot price tag on it. And this was in 2012 we opened that. So when we put our ad out for employees, we had employees wrapped around Anacapa and down State Street because we were just coming out of the pullback, the recession. So industry standard, 8%. 8% of your gross revenue should be what you're paying for rent. You're starting a pizzeria and you have no idea what industry standard is, right? But think about those numbers and have an idea of where you're going from a demographic side. Remember, I closed restaurants because of marketing, and I'll tell you what, I look at density per square mile first. I look at my ethnographics. I look at medium income. I look at how many kids are in a family. I want to know if they're homeowners or if they're renters. I want to know all of that before I look at a location that I'm actually going to take the time and go look at. Because if it doesn't meet that criteria that I know works, okay? I've done the numbers, I've walked away from restaurants, I know how to pick a location that works. If you find that, that's the one. Because you're going to have projections for what you're going to be doing or what you think you're going to be doing financially based on the other numerical facts that you can gather. Run away really quick if you have a partner that says, it's so expensive, but it's going to be great. I know it's going to be great. You don't know it's going to be great. You have no idea it's going to be great if you don't know the numbers before you actually lease. So 8% is the industry standard. You can go up to 10% if again, depending on what you've projected for volume. Those are your fixed costs. Those fixed costs don't change, they go up. Francesco's not paying for the best bricks he can get right now. He's not paying less than he paid 5 years ago, I can guarantee you that. Costs go up. Make sure you know your numbers before you make your choices.
You want to add that?
Yeah, in my scenario, I was very limited. So which really worked out in my benefit because initially I started my journey with Mobile Oven. I would do farmers market, perfect, and then I was forced, hey, you'd have to have a little location so people can come, So for that, my criteria was, and again, I got into this business to stay close to my kids. That's a different story. So I had to, my first location, I had to get literally 5 miles close to my house. In other words, I could reach 10 minutes. That in my mind, that was my reasoning. And then it should not be more than, let's say, 1,000 square feet. So luckily I found this little place, 650 square feet, including the restroom and all that, literally 8 minutes away from where I lived. So this way I don't waste time in traveling. And I had a certain idea of rent, how much it should be, and that's what I found. I didn't really worry about, because luckily when I would travel around with my Mobile Oven, I would be in a city called Sherman Oaks, I would be in Pasadena, I would be in the West Hollywood, I would be in a city called Pacoima. Now then I started noticing my fancy places, people would come to my humble places in my city, and they would enjoy my food. They would be like, hey, I couldn't wait for next week for Monday, so I got my whole family. So in other words, you travel 45 minutes just to come to try my pizza within the 3-hour farmer's market time, that means my food has the power to pull those people in. And I didn't care about having, this was my vision, I didn't care about serving 100 new people, not at all. I cared about serving 10 people and impress them so much enough that the 10 people become a repeat right after the first time, and the 10 people come back and buy 10 pizza each. So at the end of the day, I'm just speaking to 10 people, and they're coming back again and again, but the income-wise, it's the same effect. So that was my vision. So purposely, it kind of filters through all the people who are looking for cheese and pepperoni, and if somebody's driving and trying to find my city, Sun Valley, and just get to me, yeah, so those are the only people, and that was my vision, and it worked out for me.
That's great. That's great.
So Man, I could talk about this topic all day because
We don't have a lot of time.
we don't have a lot of time. So here's my quick answer. I'm not a believer in paying a lot for rent. I actually think that rent should be closer to about 6% of your gross sales. I'm also not a believer that you should go to a destination. I think you should fashion your product so you become a destination. And the quick example of that will be Bestia. I started working at Bestia in 2012 when nobody had ever heard of the Arts District. And Ori had been working in a pretty famous restaurant in West Hollywood on Beverly Boulevard, and he found this location in the Arts District. And when I went to the Arts District the first time, I saw a diesel gas station and a fully nude strip club, and the only foot traffic was homeless people. And I was like, is he crazy? Well, look at the Arts District now. It is a destination. Rents are going up by the minute, you know, and Bestia is still one of the hardest reservations to get in Los Angeles because the food is incredible and you feel like you're somewhere when you're there. And I just went to Bavel, his second location up the street the other night for the second time, and it was unbelievable. There must have been 200 people inside that location on a Wednesday night at 5 o'clock, and there were 100 people trying to get in. All in a neighborhood that was formerly like warehouses with broken windows and not even any homeless people. It was like empty, you know? So when they say destination, destination, or location, location, they're right, but at the same time, if you can create a product that people will drive from here and there to get to, that's where you want to be.
Now we're going to change a little bit the topics, and we're going to talk about something we all love, pizza. So, Napolitan pizza, Neo-Napolitan pizza, New York style, Detroit style. What are the new pizza trends, and would they last?
Yeah, so I mean, pizza trends change pretty rapidly. I feel like we are coming out of a Neapolitan trend. I know that when I was getting into the pizza business 10 years ago, it was all about wood-fired pizzas. I know in Los Angeles that Nancy Silverton was doing wood-fired, and in a lot of ways she put LA Pizza on the map when she opened Mozza. And then now I've been seeing the newish trend is pan pizzas of all kinds, right? Everybody's heard of Roman, everybody's heard of Detroit, right? There's a lot of beautiful pizza trends, I think, out of the pan pizza. I'm also seeing a lot of high hydration trends, so the Roman and the Pinza are pretty awesome. They don't really need a pan. These days, I'm getting a lot of calls for people who want thin crust pizza. I love Neapolitan. For me, it's like the grandmother of all Western pizzas, but sometimes I feel like you need a spoon to eat Neapolitan pizza because it's so soupy. And I think people are really harking back to, especially Americans, crispy, thin crust pizza, you know, that is just like minimally topped and like, it's something that a kid would like, you know? It's not for adults, it's not for foodies, it's just for people. So thin crust pizza, gas deck oven, just kill it.
Ali?
I feel all the styles are beautiful and they will come and they will go, but we have to come up with our own speciality and something like a mastery, so which becomes evergreen. So when people come to it, they're not just coming for, oh, you have a Detroit style, that's why I want to try you. But then let's say when the season goes away a year later, what are you going to serve? No, but if you're selling Detroit style, it should be the Detroit style where everybody, you know, you should be the leader at it. That should be your focus. So even after 7 years, if you think about that, like Frank Pepe, we all, you know, love the clam pizza. So they have their own niche going on. People don't care what style it is. People still want to go there, visit, and enjoy the food. So that's the vision, my personal vision. That's what you want to become. So season come and go, fashion come and go, trends come and go, but your pizza becomes the leader of you make your own, you know, style. That's what.
Don't invest in a fad. Don't even invest in a trend, I don't think. So here's the trends. Detroit styles started in Michigan in the 40s at Buddy's Rendezvous. Is that a fad? Hell no. It started in the 40s. The rest of America just didn't wake up to it until about 5-6 years ago when you know, somebody came out of Michigan and won best pizza in the world with a Detroit style pizza, and everybody went, what? And of course then we all jumped on the bandwagon, right? Grandma styles, that's where Detroit was born from. The GIs, our young men and women fighting in World War II, went over to Europe. They had grandma style pizzas from Sicily. They came home to Detroit, and somebody rummaged through an automaker's garbage and found these old blue steel pans that they held nuts and bolts in on the line, and said, hey, I don't have enough money to buy these pans. I'm going to take these home and clean them and bake in them. And that's what they did, right? These aren't trends. These are tried and true. Pinza's been, you know, I was shocked a year and a half ago when Caputo had referred me to the Forgionis and said, you know, Glenn's lived in Italy. He knows how to do this. We've seen him do it. Go talk to him. And I said, Pinza? Is that going to become a fad or a trend? It's a trend in America right now. Everybody wants high hydration and things like that. It's phenomenal, and we're gonna do some of that here. But again, these are old. These have been made for centuries at some point in Italy. They're just new to America, right? So, again, what it comes back down to is all of these, you know, the Detroits, the Grandmas, the Pinzas, the Rhone style, all of these come down to a passion of high quality, a differentiation of your technique to other restaurants. I don't compete with other pizzerias or other restaurants. I don't at all, because I think mine are unique enough. I know that these two gentlemen are also unique enough. I don't want to compete with you. I want to embrace what you do so I can learn more. I'm 59 years old, and I probably haven't even scratched the surface of hopefully what I'll learn coming up in the next decade. So when we look back in history to where all these pizza styles came from, we see that they've been here forever and ever and ever. That doesn't mean we're going to find a demographic that loves it here, or we may find a demographic that loves it here. The difference is it's different. So try it. And we talk about menu and stuff. We're going to be talking about those things, but LTOs, limited time offers. You know, throw something new out there. Don't put it on the menu. Create that want from the guests that know you're only going to make a certain pizza on a certain day, and they have to come in. Americans are so trainable. Just drive by a Starbucks. Man, we'll buy anything if you market it enough. I'm digging, you know, I'm giving you jabs on the marketing, right?
I think it's also important to, I remember when the wave of Napolitan pizza came, you know, you went to a lot of places and to, you know, like 2 sentences of what you say. A lot of time they say it's a Napolitan pizza, but it's not really a Napolitan pizza, and that's a bad representation of the product. And you see that very often, not because you touch Napolitan. I'm from Naples, so I gotta defend it. But it's true. I mean, it's, you know, it's a lot of Napolitan pizza, but not Napolitan pizza, I would say. So something that has changed our industry in the last years, Millennium and Gen Z are driving and changing our industry today. How do you stay relevant, and what's marketing tools or social media you use? And let's try to keep it short because we're running out of time. Glenn, I heard before that you didn't know how to market yourself, but I guess now you know. So why don't you elaborate a little bit the question?
I wish we had about an hour so that a young man here could stand up and tell everybody what we really should be doing. But Adam Guild is in the back there. Adam, raise your hand so everybody can see you, please. I met Adam about 4 or 5 months ago through another company. And this is one of the most brilliant young minds that I've ever met, quite frankly, when it comes to marketing and things like that. Hopefully you'll have a chance to talk to him. And I just told everybody I'm 59 years old, so guess what? I don't know anything about the Gen X's or the Z's or anything like that. But I'm smart enough to know people that do know about them. And that's what I have to do. I have to look at my children. I've got 4 from 23 to 17. I've got brilliant young people that I not only like, but I think that are going to change the world that we live in, and that makes me hopeful. But marketing and understanding what these new generations need and want is not something that I focus on, because I focus on my food. Again, make sure you surround yourself with people that know what they're doing and are smarter than you at doing it. It's an old, it's an old saying. Henry Ford said it. Bill Gates from Apple said, hire the best and let them do what they're doing, and he was notoriously not that way. He'd always come back to them and challenge them more. But the bottom line is that we're not going to know everything. Be smart enough to bring people in that do know. And the Z's and the Gen X's and everybody in between are all our markets. So we need to know how to attract them and what is viable. Listen, if you don't have online ordering, if you aren't using third party, you can argue till you're blue in the face to me about how much money you can save by not using third party. Guess who's ordering with their apps? Jason, are you ordering with your apps? How old are you?
26.
26. I know Bill is, and he's a little older, but still, these two guys are in those what we were talking about. Make sure you're not losing any. Go ahead, Adam.
You want me to give a quick summary? I just wrote a very thorough article on exactly this topic.
Yeah?
3-minute summary?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Grab the mic.
Yeah,
This is
come
really
on.
spontaneous. I didn't know I was coming this late yesterday. but
Good.
Hopefully this stuff is helpful. So some quick context for other people. I'm not a high school intern here, although I kind of look like it. I write on restaurant marketing for Forbes, QSR Magazine, FSR Magazine, MRN Magazine, and like every major restaurant publication, Yelp blog, Generation blog, and a bunch of others. And my work is read by over 20,000 restaurant owners per month at this point. So in terms of connecting with... Got it. Okay, cool. In terms of connecting with the younger generation, Instagram is the platform to focus on. 53% of the users are 18 to 29 years old, and that doesn't even include the teenagers that use the platform a lot. They're like 10 to 17. So definitely focus on Instagram, and what that means is, I'll just share a few quick hacks. Just wrote an article about this exact topic, so it's perfect timing. But what you can do is look at the people that are posting in your area, but also the people that are following your competitors, and engage with those people, because odds are your competitors aren't doing a great job of continuously interacting with and communicating with their audiences. But if you go in there and like engage with these people that by definition already are interested in the type of food that you offer, pizza, in your market, then odds are you'll be able to convert a very high portion of them. And aside from focusing on Instagram, and by the way, you can like set up automation software to do this for you for like $19 a month, do it on autopilot, engage with a few hundred people a day in your market that are looking for what you offer. So if you even convert 10% of them, that's 10 free new customers a day. The second strategy I recommend focusing on is search engine optimization, search marketing. 95% of Americans find local businesses through search at this point. And the great thing about it is you don't have to convince people to actually become customers of your restaurant for what it is you offer, because when they're searching for something, they've already decided to buy. So there's not a lot of price sensitivity because they're already decided to buy, and now they're just deciding where to buy from. And if you can communicate with them in such a way that resonates when they are searching for pizza in your market, then inevitably, and by the way, there's thousands of people that are searching for pizza in your market, regardless of where your market is, even if you're in some small town in Oklahoma. Guess we're bagging on Oklahoma today. So yeah, literally thousands of people in your market per month searching for what it is you offer. Just get in front of them, and I can share a few actionable strategies on how you can do that, like easily starting today. but I know we're kind of pressed for time. So I have a great video, an article coming soon about this soon in QSR Magazine, Forbes, and on YouTube. So highly recommend taking a look at that. I will send you a link happily if you come up to me after. But yeah, I hope that was helpful.
Thank you.
So, yeah, Adam Guild, everybody. Listen, there are a lot of brilliant young people out there, and thank God, right? Because us old people really need those young, fresh minds to be able to stay relevant. And that is the bottom line. You know, we see a lot of TV shows today of all these chefs out there that come in and fix something and then leave. What can't they fix? They can't fix you. They can't fix me, maybe, right? If we're not open, if our ego is driving us because 10 years ago my youth restaurant used to be packed all the time. So I know it's great. Place is a freaking ghost town. There's nobody in that restaurant, right? Because your customers are dying every day. Think about it. They literally are. They're passing away. They're moving. They're leaving. They're selling their high-priced home in California and going to Oklahoma because they can buy 10 homes there. I'm just kidding. The bottom line is, if you don't know it, make sure you find somebody that does know it and be open enough. Put your ego aside, because that will help you stay successful as you grow your businesses or go into the areas that you don't know. So yeah, that's my take.
I'm gonna ask another question. You guys can also go over this previous one, which is kind of related to the same subject. Is an average of 30% of the purchase today they're done digitally. Which company you use for delivery? And how do you sustain an healthy business if they take 20 to 30% of your gross margin? You want to take that?
Dark kitchens are becoming very, very popular. Brick and mortars are very important because you have the touch, you have the feel. And in the future, we will go to more dark kitchens, which means you'll have a kitchen in a warehouse that will only do delivery. And your guests really won't know it. They think it's coming from the same restaurant, your standards are the same, the quality is the same, and things like that. So there's a lot of ways, again, like I just said, my restaurant used to pack it in, they don't pack it in anymore. That's because you're serving the same thing, you're not being creative with your menu, and your customers are dying or moving away. That is a fact. So you have to stay relevant on this. And whether you like it or not, 20 to 30%, if you're looking at a dark kitchen, if your labor is cut down, if your overhead is cut down, if I don't have to pay for signage, if I don't have to pay for menus, if I don't have to pay for any of that, because that's already in my brick and mortar, now I can afford that 20 to 30%, can't I? And I'm not going to lose the new demographics that are ordering online. Think about it, because it works in brick and mortars as well. I've got great friends in this industry that would fight to the death that I'm wrong. They live in Oklahoma. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I mentioned it before, but I just finished working the first leg of a job for a local pizzeria chain that has about 18 locations, Fresh Brothers, and they just opened up what they're calling a cloud kitchen. I don't know what the difference between dark and cloud is. Yeah. And so their kitchen is near LAX, and so they're going to be doing, they consider themselves a hub, right? With a back door only, no front door. And what I think is interesting about that is that they're actually trying to use their own app. And they're offering people up to 15 or even 20% discounts if they order through their app. And so they're cutting out the apps. 15 to 20% is quite a hit, but they're hoping to acquire customers using, to get them to use the app. And what was amazing to me is that I went to their Hollywood location while I was working for them and just sat there and watched people coming in. And about 80% of the people had ordered on the app and just came in and picked up their pizza and left. Me and like 6 cops were sitting there eating our pizza, and we looked ridiculous. And it was young people. it was people in fancy cars, you know? Everybody likes apps, everybody likes savings, and everybody likes pizza. So I think they're onto something.
Yes, I agree with cloud kitchens and things. I think in my scenario, my pizza is not designed for delivery, but if I would design one, it's going to be probably a Roman style, so it retains the heat pretty good, and it's going to be like a warehouse with just like the back door, just delivery, 100% delivery only. So we can sustain that 30% hit, 25% hit. And then it's totally worth it. And instead of having like 7 different runners, 7 different employees, you just have 2, and their job is, and limited hours, for example. Maybe from 8 in the evening until like 2 in the morning, because that's the time no other pizza place is open, and everybody is drunk and they're just ordering pizza home. Perfect. So yeah, so that could be a different concept of business too. But from a running business, and in my scenario right now, I'm not able to. Postmates tries to be sneaky and send people still anyways. But the idea is, since it's not designed, because everything for in my scenario is the word, what we are serving is the quality, and for me it's not just the pizza, the experience is along with it. So especially the first timers, I don't want them to get a wrong impression of what I'm doing. So, but still, you know, God bless, if you're super busy, even though yes, the online ordering and everything catches up, but there's a different business concept to serve that. But yeah, you should be very clear with it. It's not one of those, oh yeah, you're doing business and adding on online, it's going to help you advance. No, it will not. It will eat up your own business. That's what I personally feel.
It's great because you have 2 different completely concepts. You know, you're very independent driven. They're more franchise driven, bigger corporation, open mind. How can you scale it? With that, you know, we're coming almost close to the end of the Pizza Summit. I have a couple more questions, and then we're going to be done. Since we're talking about, you know, how do you scale your business, technology, obviously we're talking, you know, Domino's Pizza, Pizza Hut, you know, Little Caesar. They're the biggest, you know, chain out there. So how do you scale your business? How do you compete with them? Since you don't have the same resources and technology in some cases, and same, you know, in many cases you were talking about the Apple line, you build your own Apple line, that's very expensive. Yeah, what kind of suggestion would you give, or what kind of advice would you give to the audience, you know, about this topic?
So the question is, how do you compete with Domino's, Papa John's, Pizza Hut, Little Caesars? And you don't compete with them. Don't even try. Because you won't. They have scalability. They have economy of scale. You could discount everything on your menu by coupons, and what that's going to bring you are people that are only interested in how much your product costs. They don't care how it tastes. They don't care about the fact that you've, you know, cold fermented your dough for 48 hours and then proofed it for 4, and they don't care if you used a biga. They don't care about anything. They don't even know what a biga is, right? It's a totally different business. And if you try to compete with the top 5 chains through couponing, you'll die, because you just don't have economy of scale. I actually know a chain that took a location that Domino's left. I'm pausing for the effect. If Domino's didn't make money there, how did this group think they were going to make money there? Because Domino's is the number 1, Pizza Hut's number 1. I guess they kind of go back and forth. Point being is, gosh, if they couldn't sell an $8 pizza and make money, how are you going to do it? They're a much bigger company than you are, right? Listen, you have to pick where you want to go in this industry. If you want to compete with the top people, then you've got to have a lot of money. And you probably should have started about 30 years ago, because scalability right now is not there. So you can't. My opinion is you can't.
Ali, you're an independent, obviously your approach is
I
probably
don't want it.
completely different. I guess, you know, you don't have to compete with them because, you know, you are different, you have your own entity, and you don't really compete with them.
More than Domino's, Pizza Hut, I get a question a lot about Blaze and Pyology and the other ones, right? So for me, comparatively, they're like, oh yeah, so you guys are just like Blaze, right? So a lot of people, when I started, they're like, oh Ali, so how are you going to survive? Because all these, you know, pizza places, Pizza Rev, and all those are killing it. What are you going to do? I was like, no, in fact, it's good for me. Why? Because as soon as people come in, I ask them, have you seen an oven like this before? And they say, yes, it's Blaze. I'm like, great. So at least they are not Pizza Hut and Domino's people. They are step up, you know? And then I tell them, okay, so how do you like it? If you love this, you're going to fall in love with what I'm going to do, because this is where those guys got inspired by. This is the real deal. So that's how I kind of educate them about it. But yeah, of course, no coupons whatsoever. It's a I'm a car guy, so example-wise, the way I look at it, I'm trying to. You want to be a Mercedes, right? You want to be a Rolls-Royce. You want to be a Bentley or a Lamborghini. They are great, but they are Corollas. So you have to have your. So of course, you're not going to sell as much as a Corolla because the highest-selling car in the world. That's fine. But what they are doing is completely different. What you are doing is completely different. You know, you're giving them the comfort, suspensions, and all that good stuff mechanics-wise. So you have to make sure what you want to do first, and then jump into it. If instead of competing, let's say, what would you do to compete? I will not compete. I'll go get a Domino's franchise and become part of them, accept them, you know, and take it from there if I have to.
So, yeah.
I would say I think you can compete, and one of the ways you can compete is with social media. 5 years ago, I wasn't even on social media, and now I have an Instagram account that has almost 10,000 followers, and I'm not a believer. I thought, Facebook, that's ridiculous. I don't want any friends on Facebook. I only want my friends to be people that I know. I didn't understand the power. And I was on my way to Pizza Expo one year, and somebody took my phone from me and signed me up to Instagram. And it's incredible what I've been able to accomplish. All of my new accounts come from Instagram. I'm communicating with bakers and chefs and pizza guys all over the world that I've never met, but we have absolutely so much in common. And so what I try to get people to do, clients who are trying to compete with the bigger brands, is you can bring a product to market in 3 days, right? How long does it take Domino's to get a new product to market? 3 months, right? So create some excitement, create some fun. Have things, let people know that tomorrow you're doing this pizza, or tomorrow you're going to show them how to reheat pizza in their frying pans, or, you know, in the front of house. You can do so many things that are fun and relevant to people's lives quickly that the big brands can't do.
Well, just the last advice, not a question. We're gonna, you know, finish this the first pizza summit with Pizza University. What kind of advice, you know, just in a few words, and let's not take it very deep. What kind of advice would you give for a person that is getting into the pizza industry? And
I'll start. Learn to make pizza. No, really. I got into the pizza business because I was successful in the restaurant and nightclub business, and my friends and family doubted me, and I proved them all wrong. But to be honest, the only place that I wasn't successful was with chefs, because from my understanding as somebody who wasn't a chef or somebody who worked in a kitchen, once you get successful, you're actually a slave to the person who makes your food if you can't do it yourself. So the reason I got back into the business was to learn how to make pizza, and I thought I would open a pizzeria. It turns out I haven't opened one. I'm working for other chefs to do so, but what I think is really powerful is that you can learn to make pizza. You can learn to make pizza well. And so if there's ever an issue with somebody in your organization, you can do their job. You can make the dough. You can stretch the pies. You can bake the pies. You can do it all. It's not brain surgery. It's pretty simple, but take the time, learn how to make pizza, and you'll never unlearn that skill.
You still thinking? Ali's still thinking. He just opened the second location. He's still spinning. The devil's in the details. It's all about the numbers. If you're going to get into the business, whether you jump in and want to open 20 stores and have the investors to do that, or you open your first store, your operations have to be tight. Your procedures have to be tight. How many of you, before I mentioned the term prime cost, how many of you knew what that was? Raise your hands. 1, 2. Okay? That's enough said. You got to know your prime costs, you got to know your fixed costs. You have to know how much you want to sell or need to sell to be able to support yourself. And then from there, you want to be able to use Pyology, Blaze, Mod, Domino's. They can't get products to market in a year, let alone 3 months. There's too many people sitting around going, oh, I'm not sure that's going to work. That's going to take an extra 30 seconds to do that. Our business will fall apart. That's great. Don't take that extra 30 seconds. Continue to push crap out your door. That's what's going to kill your business, right? I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. So, devil's in the details. Be passionate about what you're doing. Make sure you know the numbers. And if you need help, reach out to someone on Instagram or whatever platform you are and ask for help. There are so many, see, this is the beautiful thing about this industry. I can't remember how many times Francesco has just come up to me and said, how are you? And he meant it. He wanted to know, how are you? We're the same way. How are you? Do you need help? It's not about you paying a consulting fee all the time. It might just be a quick answer. And then maybe 2 years later you'll come and go, you know, you gave me that answer. Or the first seminar I went to at Pizza Expo, Ali just gave me the most unbelievable compliment that I can have. Reach out to your peers. I consider all of these people peers. I consider the suppliers and the vendors and all of you peers. How do I know I'm not going to learn anything from you? Be open to it. And ask questions. We're here to help.
Besides what my two gurus just mentioned, I would simply say really what you really want to do. I feel we just have one life, guys. So I'm one of those guys. Probably by now with my answers you got it. I really believe in it. We just have one life, guys, right? So happiness is everything. If you feel and you're ready to work hard, it is extremely hard, especially in my scenario. It's not even 100 times harder. It's 200 times harder than what I did before. But guess what, guys? I'm 200 times happier too. So that's the deal. Before I would wake up like 3 in the morning, I would be like so scared. I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow. I wake up now too, but with the new idea of a new recipe. Get it? So same things are happening, but in a happy way. So if that's what you're passionate about life, you really want to make magic happen, if that you see yourself doing that, then all the hard work I'm talking about is nothing to you. And if you feel you can pull that off, then jump into it. Don't even think twice about it. And be ready to have a beautiful journey. Yeah.
I'm just going to add one more thing. Today's my day off. I haven't had a day off in weeks, and I don't have another day scheduled off for many weeks. I got a call to ask if I wanted to be here. I didn't ask to be paid. I didn't want to be paid. I had a feeling that it would be something like this. And so I came here out of the goodness of my heart on my day off. Because for me, I do what I do because I love it. And I actually love being here. I don't need to be paid to sit here and talk about pizza with pizza luminaries, or to have discussions that I haven't had yet with people who really want to learn and understand and know and grow. So people talk about passion like it's some kind of commodity or some kind of buzzword, but I think, judging from what I'm hearing today, is that it's a real thing. And so if you don't have it, sorry.
And I asked Francesco if I could have his pay, but he said no.
Well, if you don't have it, you can buy it. Let's handle like that. I want to thank you guys. Round of applause for the finalists. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you again. Bye-bye.